Hello, my name is John Austin Delosier, and this is Omnibus Project 3, Option 2. Now, the Articles of Confederation and the Constitution had many differences. However, both were key documents in the founding of our nation. In today's video, I will be exploring some of these differences. Now, the first difference that we're going to start with is the House of Congress, or what is today known as the legislative branch. The Articles of Confederation, in fact, and this will be important later, only had one branch of government throughout the entire thing, and that was the Congress. We shall call it the Confederational Congress, so as not to confuse between the Constitutional Congress. Now, the Constitutional Congress had two branches, or two houses, I should say, the Senate and the House of Representatives. We shall now transition to the amount of representation per state. For the Articles of Confederation, there were equal amounts of representatives per state. Now, while this seems good in theory, this was problematic because larger population states felt forgotten and discriminated against. This was solved by the Constitutional Congress, in which the Senate had two representatives per state, and the House of Representatives was based on population. This catered to the smaller populous states and the larger populous states and satisfied both. Now on to the next, the leaders of Congress. Now, in the Articles of Confederation, since there was only one branch, there was the President of Congress, not to be confused with the President of the United States. The President of Congress just oversaw all Congress meetings. Congress limited him. Therefore, he had no real authority, such as the executive branch, which we'll get to later. Now, the Constitutional Congress had, for the House of Representatives, a Speaker of the House, who was elected by the majority of the House of Representatives. The Senate, the head of the Senate, was the Vice President of the United States. Now, and I mentioned this before, the executive branch. How strong was the executive branch? Well, for the Articles of Confederation, the executive branch was non-existent. This was all overseen by the Confederational Congress, which didn't have that much strength. It did not limit the states very much. It only was there to declare wars, keep relations going, and more of what we'll discuss later. However, the Constitutional Congress had the power to enforce laws, veto or reject proposals for a law, and appoint federal posts. On to the next thing, which was the enumerated powers of Congress. Now again, the Articles of Confederation did not have that many enumerated powers. However, there were some, and those were that Congress could declare war, appoint military officers, sign treaties, make alliances, appoint foreign ambassadors, and manage relations, usually with the Native Americans in the area. The Constitutional Congress, however, had a multitude of enumerated powers, in which they write very clearly and concisely in Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution, which I will now quote for you. Section 8, Section 8, Article 1 of the Constitution reads, "The Congress shall have the power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and exercises, to pay the debts, and provide for the common defense, and general welfare of the United States. But all duties, imposts, and excises shall be uniform throughout the United States." And now it reads the enumerated powers. Number 1, to borrow money on the credit of the United States. Number 2, to regulate commerce with foreign nations and along with several states and with the Indian tribes. Number 4, to establish a uniform rule of naturalization, uniform laws on the subject of bankruptcies throughout the United States. Number 5, to coin money, regulate the value thereof and of foreign coins, and to fix the standards of weights and measures. Number 6, to provide the punishment of counterfeiting to the securities in the current coin of the United States. Number 7, to establish post offices and post roads. Number 8, to promote the progress of science and useful arts by securing for limited times to authors and inventors the exclusive right to their respective writings, and discoveries. Number 9, tribunals inferior to the Supreme Court. Number 10, to define and punish piracies. Number 11, to declare war, grant letters of marque and reprisal, and make rules concerning captures on land and water. Number 12, to raise and support armies. Number 13, to provide and maintain a navy. Number 14, to make rules for the government and regulation for land and naval forces. Number 15, to provide for calling forth to militia and execute the laws of the Union, suppress insurrections and invasion. There are several more, but I will not get into those now, seeing as I have covered the basics. Now, the limits on state powers are actually quite interesting, for the Articles of Confederation had barely any. I just stated the enumerated powers that Congress had, and that was pretty much the limit for the state limits that the Articles of Confederation held. This was a huge issue, but thankfully was fixed by the Constitutional Congress, in which the Congress controlled most of the monetary policy, taxes, tariffs, and everything. In the Articles of Confederation Congress, states controlled taxes and tariffs separately. However, Congress united the nation and controlled taxes and tariffs on their own. I shall now go over to the terms of officers. The Articles of Confederation allowed for 3 years that a representative could be a representative. Now, I shall again read another article from the Constitution, and that is Article 2, Section 2, and Clause 2 of the Constitution, because it describes the terms of officers quite well. In Article 2, Section 2, Clause 2 of the Constitution, it states, "No person shall be a representative who shall not have attained the age of 25 years, and have been 7 years a citizen of the United States, and who shall not, when elected, be an inhabitant of the state in which he shall be chosen." On to Section 3, which states, "Representatives and direct taxes shall be in apportioned among several states," and so on and so forth. I shall now move on to the judiciary branch. Now, the Articles of Confederation, as I already said before, had only one branch, and that was the Confederational Congress. The judiciary was non-existent. However, this was amended in the Constitution, in which they added the federal courts, the most notable being the Supreme Court, in which judges performed lifetime roles. This wraps up just some of the differences between the Articles of Confederation and the Constitution, two of the most influential documents, and two of which the U.S. could not have existed without. Thank you.